Welcome back, Money Team. This is Madden Money Shot, snipping out the Madden cheese as always. In today's video, we just had the Madden 26 reveal trailer as well as a lot of information drop on their website about new features that are going to be in the game. So I'm going to go over everything you guys missed in both of those things. But before I do, as always, if you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to be a subscriber, hit the like button, and let me know in the comment section. Other than that, let's get right into the video. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is how much similarities we saw in this trailer compared to the College Football 26 trailer, based on the fact that College Football 25 is one of the best selling games, especially in video game history when it comes to sports games. And it seems like EA is really trying to copy and paste that formula in a lot of ways over to Madden 26, based off of the fact that it's just obviously college football is the leader in the clubhouse right now when it comes to interest and when it comes to, like I said, most importantly, sales. Now, one of the first things you might have missed here is as the game starts, you get this little disclaimer at the bottom that says includes optional in-game purchases. And even though I don't want to start the video off by complaining about EA and their predatory practices when it comes to trying to monetize everything, this is the gameplay reveal trailer. This is the first thing that we see, and they have a disclaimer here talking about how they're basically going to be trying to milk every dollar out of you, just like they did last year when they added in the update a meaningless game tag that I guess you could buy different things for. Once again, it's all about money when it comes to EA, so that's not necessarily the best start, and I don't want to start off negatively, but it just makes me wonder what in this trailer are we seeing that comes with the game, and what do we have to pay for, which is not necessarily how you want to start a video. Other than that, though, we get to see the pageantry of the NFL become more important to EA in Madden 26, the same way it was obvious in College Football 26, as we start off with the Vikings entrance, and then you get this huge Viking ship that's shooting out fire and stuff like that, just to show you guys that they're putting a lot more time into the intros and the immersion of the game, which is really what people have been asking for a very long time, as we see Randy Moss up on the hill there trying to lead the crowd, which is something you see from a lot of pre-game rituals where you might have somebody in Seattle, I think they like blow a horn or beat a drum or something like that. So maybe they're going to integrate that more into the intros, because that is really part of the NFL pageantry, is a lot of teams have ceremonies they do leading up to the kickoff of the game, and that's really something that it's cool to see that they're at least addressing. I don't know if every team's going to have their own personal thing, but they're showing you how much personalization, how much customization they're trying to use in this particular game. Now, something that I mentioned in a previous video as well from a Kurt Bankert tweet, where he basically suggested that they're going to have more alternate and classic uniforms from Nike. The Texans redesign, you're going to have stadium edge walls and field art that are being aligned with specific uniforms. So if you're wearing like the whiteout uniform from the Bengals, I guess the field logo will match those uniforms, and it has which is something that, like I said, that was already kind of suggested by Kurt Bankert, and I think I covered in a previous video. Now, it was reported too that it's not just going to be the intros, it's also going to be, there's going to be a halftime, which is something that they haven't had in Madden in a long time, but they're going to have halftime shows with Scott Hansen and weekly wrap-up shows. So that's definitely a step in the right direction when it comes to how they're going to be bringing the presentation level up a notch, as well as custom broadcast packages for all primetime games, which is something that's definitely going to be an improvement. Either way, moving on to the next section here, they start to talk about the QB DNA, which is something that they definitely have talked about or has already been released in videos that I've gone over. I think Kurt Bankert actually put out a tweet and then had to delete a tweet about the QB DNA. So they're just trying to show you how real life players basically, or the game models itself after what players do in real life. But I'll read the written portion that they put out for you guys, for people that might not have seen that video. It says, QBDNA leverages real QB play calls and game situations over nearly a decade to deliver unique, play-specific pocket behavior, signature throwing motions, and distinct scrambling styles that match real on-field movement of star NFL quarterbacks, which is exactly what they're trying to show here as they transition from real life to the game. As the overall presentation here is really just more about the realism, or the attempt at realism, which is something that Madden has really been lacking for a very long time. And like I said, we're going to see more from that as the trailer continues. Then we get to see Micah Parsons actually on a stunt or a twist, which was something that was already revealed to be in College Football 26. Well, guess what? Once again, they're taking it from College Football 26 and they're putting it in Madden. And they're also putting something in the game called Custom Zones, which is another feature that I haven't really heard much about in College Football 26. but apparently this is just going to let you set the depth that you want to the zone, which is something that is kind of already in the game as far as coaching adjustments are concerned, but maybe this goes a little bit deeper. On this next play here, you get to see a slow motion of a block where it's engaged really out on an island. And this they don't really explain, but this is either to show better blocking, which is something that they've been trying to say, especially in college football, or it's to show the new function where I already went over in a previous video once again, where you have the ability as a defensive lineman to kind of control an offensive lineman before disengaging if you like to use your defensive lineman. So that could be to show that. But based on the fact that the only recognizable player here is the offensive tackle in Tristan Wirfs, makes me think that it's probably more about the blocking itself than the actual defensive player being, because they said that that particular disengage ability really was only from really highly rated defensive ends, and this is not a highly rated defensive end. So I'm imagining that it's trying to show that, you know, typically when you have those really fast edge blitzes, a lot of times they just whiff right past the tackles. Well, maybe now these tackles will actually go out and make that block, which is really nice. You also get to see that fall forward animation with Ashton Genty as he's reaching for the first down marker, which is something we saw in the college football trailer a lot. As that's really the theme of this video, is I feel like this entire thing was really just trying to copy the success of college football and bring it to Madden. As you can see, we get the exact same look here where he's reaching forward. I don't know if that's going to be a new function, or if it's just going to be, we already had that type of animation where the guys could reach for the goal line and stuff like that. So I don't really know what they're referencing there. Then they have a small segment where they show Dan Campbell, which I'm sure is really, you know, one of the bigger features they talked about that I already went over in a previous video is coaching DNA, where they talk about how AI is going to have guys like Dan Campbell who go for it on fourth down just about every single time, go for it on fourth down in the games as well. They talk about how also the playbooks and the offenses are going to be designed more specifically to real life coaches, which is something we saw in College Football 25, where you had all these unique offenses and all these unique, you know, it's basically they're porting over what it was in College Football 25 into Madden, where now if you have somebody who likes to run a lot of hurry up, I'm sure you'll see, you know, the Eagles run a lot of hurry up because we do that a lot, or you might see the Eagles go for it on fourth down and run a QB sneak every single time or something like that. They're going to have a lot more authenticity as far as how these NFL teams like to run their show in the game. Similar to College Football 25, you had a lot of teams where if you played them, they would just run hurry up the entire game or no huddle the entire game, because that's basically how they do it in real life. It's also been confirmed that they're going to have over 1,000 new plays, which is still behind college football, who has 2,700 new plays. And it's also been confirmed that the player movement will be faster, similar to college football, because apparently people like that much more. And that's really what this trailer is about. It's about showing that they're really trying to improve the authenticity of the game. On the next play here, you can see they go for it, I guess. We get a one-handed catch, which is something that was in the game last year. And then you get to see some signature celebration additions, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, who stood on his head one time. I don't know if he does that every time, but they added it into the game. I can't say that I've seen him do that more than one time, but they did add it into the game. And then they also show DK Metcalf, who's become known for doing he does sign language. He learned how to do sign language so that he could communicate through the camera after he scores, which is something he does way more often than, as far as I know, Amon-Ra St. Brown's celebration. But both of them into the game, so we could see some more signature celebrations. And then we see probably the biggest change to Madden, which is something a lot of people have been asking for a long time, which is dynamic weather, where essentially you see players slipping, you see players sliding around, dropping footballs, you see the quarterback slipping in the pocket. All these things are going to be really important when it comes to the realism of the game. And I don't remember seeing much of this in college football as far as the same type of dynamic changes to the gameplay based off of weather. They did show dynamic lighting, where the lighting's going to change, but they didn't show this where the players are going to be slipping and sliding around the field. And I also think we got a little hidden animation here where you see Kyler Murray slides, and it forces the defender to jump over him. In Madden now, you can still hit somebody really hard, even when they're trying to slide and stuff like that, which is not really authentic to the game because that would typically draw a penalty. So this looks like another just minor adjustment to try to make the game seem that much more authentic to real life NFL. Before we get to the snow game that happened in the division round between the Eagles and the Rams. And you can see how poor the visibility is when you get to see, you can barely see the goalpost here, which is going to show you how hard it's going to be to pass in these situations possibly, especially downfield deep passing, where you get to see the same thing with, just basically white out snow where you can't see at all. And they talk about this more on the website, where they talk about football weather. Depending on how extreme the conditions are, football weather can completely disrupt your original game plan plan, adapt to new challenges like limited visibility, downfield, and heavy snow or fog, or wet conditions that will directly impact player movement, stamina, ball security, and more. Before we get another look at some entrances, some unique entrances like the Eagles when they play night games, I know that they do this green light thing where they basically light the whole stadium up green. As you can see, pretty much they're just trying to show how they're going to try to incorporate more individual, pregame rituals into the game, because I think they realized how important it was to college football fans based on the feedback. So why not try to do it in Madden in the NFL? As you're just seeing that the entire basis of this is really just trying to make this more of a real life simulation game than what it's been the last couple of years, which I think is something that a lot of people will be really excited about. But there's really not a lot of new information other than stuff that I went over in previous videos. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Is this trailer enough for you guys to get excited for Madden? Do you think you're going to pick up both games? Give me some feedback on it. Me personally, the only thing here that really makes me excited is the weather, because I think everything else is going to be in college football, but I do think playing in a really cool, sloppy weather game every once in a while is going to be a unique experience that you can't get anywhere else, and I'm hoping that it's as good as it looks. But that's probably the only thing. So let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Other than that, I'm going to put up a video that I put out about the new features in College Football 26, because to me there's a little bit more in that as far as new features to get excited about. So if you guys are interested in both games, just click the links. And until next time, thanks for watching, man. My shit out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.